I just
For the
really
last 10 minutes!
we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I just really want to talk about this. Operation Harsh Doorstop. So, I mentioned this game, I don't know, many episodes ago. So, there's a YouTuber called Blue Drake. He's been on YouTube for ages, and majority of his content has always been like milsim games, first-person shooters, that kind of stuff. Milsim first-person shooters. That's his type of thing. And years ago, he founded a studio called Drakelinks Labs. And he basically founded a game development studio, from people based in his community. He hired people that, in his community that are interested in game development, they're really good at it and so on. They basically, Blue Drake decided, I want to make a game. Because he was not a big fan of AAA, gaming, how it works, how the gaming market functions these days. He was not that fan of that, which I agree. Certain stuff are really fucked up that need to be fixed. So his idea was to basically fight the system and make his own game. Because he's a really big supporter of modding your games, of giving options to the community, to the player base. Make your own game, make your own game modes, customize your game the way you want to, because this is your game. That's what he was championing all this time. So that's why he created the studio, and they decided to make their own game. So, just recently, they finally released the game. I don't want to say finished, it's early access. I think they mentioned it's early access. And it got released on Steam. It's free to play. Does I have anything in terms of money value? You don't have to spend anything. You don't have to buy any skins. You don't have to buy anything. You just have to download the game. That's all. It's in early access right now. That's all you have to do. Just play the game. You don't have to spend any time. So, I like the idea that some YouTuber with some sort of influence and a community that are interested in game development and interested in video games decide to make their own first-person shooter milsim wannabe game. That's fantastic. There's just the idea that some guy, can make a game and actually gather some player base in a first-person shooter game. These days especially, when you're competing against big boys,
When you're competing, it's not just you're competing against big boys, you're competing against an oversaturated market to begin with.
Yeah. So
you spend 5 minutes on Steam and just look at how oversaturated that market is. So kudos.
I like the message he's sending. I like the idea. I like the whole premise, how this game and why this game exists. That being said, on the day they're not magicians. They're not, they don't have magic beans of game development. They face the same problems like any game developer out there. To make a game is very, very hard. So, and because he's a big supporter of modding, they released a game. You can play it now, just on Steam and so on. It's a somewhat milsim shooter. You capture flags, you win, blah blah blah. Simple. You spawn, you shoot, you capture, die, repeat. And there's a lot of mixed reviews about this game for obvious reasons, because one, it's really bare bones, but I understand why. I don't think people should criticize the game when it's free, early access being bare bones. I don't think that's a legitimate critique. That was kind of expected, especially from developers that never released a game. This is the first ever game, this is the first...
But hold on, the average Joe Schmo usually don't know. So expectations being what they are, you can't really send anybody for that one, because you're talking about a day and age where high fidelity graphics and all of the bells and whistles and fun, shiny, sparkly things and ambient occlusion and fucking bloom and all the rest of this crap. Like, people sort of expect those things nowadays. But again, this doesn't mean that I'm backing somebody bashing a game because its early access first build doesn't have these things, and somebody's going, well, this is garbage.
Yeah,
You're an idiot if that's what you think.
Yeah, there's some people like that. And when he released the game, when the studio released the game, they released the developer kit. So basically, full-on mod support. Like,
so he put the game out early access, and he at the same time he put the SDK out so that people could build mods. And I mean, yeah, that's commendable as fuck.
And there's already a lot of mods that do and produce a lot of different things, a lot of different gaming experiences. You know, from what people created. There's a Starship Trooper mod that
that's awesome.
Yeah, someone made a Starship Trooper mod, and they made something else like a wannabe Battle Royale or DayZ or whatever, I can't remember. But
I don't care who you are, just Starship Troopers alone, that's awesome.
Yeah, there's loads of mods that people already made, you know, which is fantastic. Like, actually, I kind of want to dabble with that because I always want to, you know, make my own maps, you know, in multiplayer games. But I never had that particular game that gave me the tools to make the map I really wanted, especially in first-person shooters, like military first-person shooters. You know, Fortnite kind of gives me that option, but again, Fortnite is also kind of limited.
Fortnite is Fortnite.
Yeah, Fortnite's Fortnite. And just because there's a game there that I can download the SDK of it and actually make my own map, my own game mode, and so on, that's fantastic.
That is.
That's fantastic. And I kind of always wanted that all this time. That being said, because the SDK is out there, it's easier to make cheats. It's easier to, you know, it's easy to rely that your game is being supported by mods. You know.
Yeah, you're getting both sides of the coin on that one.
The biggest criticism he got is that they hope this is not gonna be the actual bread and butter of the game, mods, because if you rely on player base to keep your game interesting and fresh, to actually keep, like, you know, making the game a game, you're really a developer if you're just giving all your control to everyone else. Like, I understand the idea, I like the idea, but at the same time, they kind of have to take responsibility making sure the game is in a state they actually want to be. I understand, like, you want to give tools, you know, which are fantastic. But at the same time, you kind of have to be like the middleman of being reasonable and basically stupid. And because the SDK is there, for example, cheaters, they don't have the anti-cheat system. You know, granted, the game is a bit, you know, bare bones, sure. But you kind of need to think about that kind of stuff, you know, because it does affect a lot of people when you join a random server and there's a fucking cheater just basically destroying everyone because fuck you.
Oh, yeah, God.
You know,
and the developer gave them the ability in order to do that, and that pisses people off even more. It pisses people off wholesale. Wholly get it.
Yeah. So, also when you're like a casual gamer, you just like hear about this game and just install it, you're like, what the fuck is this game? So many different modes, different, you know, things to do.
What do I do?
Yeah, what do you do? You know, you need a bit of like mainstream the process a little bit. Like, you kind of need to separate what's exactly your vision for the game, your actual game, and what's anyone else's interpretation of that vision. You know, you kind of need to find a balance between what's yours and what's someone else's. Because if it's someone else's, everything's based on someone else's, then you might as well stop development of the game here now, right now, because you lost control. Look, I understand you don't have to control it, but if you want to make a statement, you know, and you want to fight the gaming, you know, the gaming market, you want to fight the system, you want to make a positive change to the gaming communities and so on. Great message, great idea, but at the same time, you kind of have to take control of that message. Otherwise, it's going to be skewed to something else, and people are gonna interpret that message differently, negatively and positively. So, I like the idea. I like that this game exists. I like that this game exists as a fuck you to the big publishers that don't fucking listen to their gaming communities, and they give the tools for you to do anything you want, which is fantastic. But at the same time, you need that control. You need to control the message at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, you're the developer. You kind of need to control the message, because if you don't, it's going to be, mixed up with something else, and you're completely going to lose the plot. And there's a lot of that's why the reviews are mixed. Because some people were expecting something, a finished game or something like that, or somewhat finished. No, don't be realistic. Be realistic. But yeah, for example,
guaranteed they were expecting something way more polished, and and you can't, like I said, like we said, you can't do that. You can't do that at all.
At the same time, how are they gonna make money? That's a different question. I like the idea that it's free to play and everything. Like you can just download and play it. But how are you going to monetize it?
I don't know. Then that might not even be a worry, to be honest with you.
So that you think they
might not even care. They might just be doing it just to do it, yeah.
Actually, yeah. Well, he always talked about, we want to do this and that. But he never mentioned monetization. He mentioned
might
it's
not
free.
have any plans for it.
You think it's just going to be
because you think about it, you can't sell cosmetics. How are you going to sell cosmetics? If anybody can just make cosmetics.
Anything you want, yeah.
Can't sell maps. Unless you want to have, exclusive maps that you've made. But again, what's the point? Why am I going to give you $20 when I got the SDK right here? I can make my own map. And I'm not saying that as somebody who wouldn't support a video game. Don't get me wrong, because I've done that regardless of whether developer tools exist for the modding community or not. But I'm talking about how the average Joe Schmo who isn't as passionate as, say, what we are. You know what I mean? You're not gonna get that. You're gonna get somebody who's gonna look at that and go, why would I pay for this when I can get it for free? And I somehow or another, given the model that he's going, either A, didn't think monetization through, and by the time he thought about it, it was too late. Well, or he just didn't care.
I know Blue Drake is not a moron. They thought about it somehow. They thought about something. But I really, they have a plan, I presume. It would be really weird without, they just, fuck you. Because I know they pay developers. They pay
advertising,
people.
I don't know. That's a damn good question. How are they going to make their money back on it? That's the business side of it that, like I said, they might not necessarily care enough to have thought about.
Yeah, because
it is a possibility.
Actually, I don't even know how to... Well, I guess he's financing from his own pocket, I guess, but I don't know, actually.
So he might not care.
I don't know how the studio, developers and everything being financed. I don't know how this game is being financed. But, yeah, I'm really curious to see what's the plan here. I like the idea as a big fuck you to the gaming industry, because we can make our own games and we can make our own experiences and we can actually have fun.
Yeah, we're going to make our money off of it, whether we want to or not, or we're just going to do it and we're going to do something cool and suck on it, nerds. That could be it at the end of the day. I'm not saying it's not. It's not outside of the realm of impossible.
Yeah, and that's where my comment comes in, that you kind of then lose the message. Then what's the point? You're no different from from any other game that is Garry's Mod, for example. How are you different from Garry's Mod?
True, but Garry's Mod was also very successful in its own right. Granted, it didn't make a shitload of money, but it was still successful in its own way. And again, if they might just be after it just for content.
You think so?
It wouldn't be the first person who's done internet content, made a video game just so they could make content with it.
I mean, here's the thing.
It's been done before.
He's still posting on his channel regularly about the game and everything.
Might just be doing it so that to keep interest with his audience. We don't know. There has to be a game plan there.
Actually, yeah, I never thought about that. Maybe it is a nice extension to his YouTube channel. Is actually not a bad idea. Because if a YouTuber made a game, people will check out, and people will go back to the channel because they're interested to hear.
I mean, not only that, who do you think is going to be who's going to primarily be the first group of people that are going to actually pick up and play that game? His audience.
Yeah.
Oh, now I can go interact with other people who are a part of his audience, and oh wow, maybe he plays it too. I can go shoot him. That alone right there is enough in order to garner interest in some people. trolls. Imagine, the lulls to be had from the trolls.
Yeah, that's actually
Oh
true.
man, I'm gonna go fucking shoot that popular YouTube, and I'm gonna do it on his stream. Piss him off.
Well, for example, here's some reviews I picked out from Steam. Of course, they're all biased in their own way, but it's just an interesting observation. So, as one of the reviews says, the base game is extremely bare bones, as Blue Drake 42 wants there so far non-established modding community to add things to it for him. Don't get me wrong, modding is an amazing thing and it's really great how accessible he made it. But that doesn't excuse making a non-polished game where you expect modders to work for you. Also, although publishing the SDK is free is great, you should have installed an anti-cheat, because as it turns out, it makes hacking way easier. For me, it seems like that game started with good intentions, but has been plagued by poor choices. Another review says, great foundation, excited to see where it goes. Thank you for making this free. This is a great gift to the community. And another review says, this is a very good looking game. It does look good. It definitely needs a lot of work, but to be expected from a brand new game. I like the graphics and the guns, but I wish the AI was smarter and wouldn't just around randomly and just stare at walls. I would like some more gun additions, like able to change attachments and setups, but overall good experience. And of course there's some comments about performance not being too good, because there's some guy, for example, running 390 and get like 60-70 FPS,
Oh my god, seriously?
The optimization is not there yet, so I kind of get it.
Like, get over it, kids.
Yeah. So of course people say like, audio is not there, the game plays dry, blah blah blah. Yeah, that's most expected stuff. And of course the last review that I found that is just makes me laugh and makes me happy. Let them cook. Just let them cook. Which I agree. That last review is probably the best review. Let them cook. Let's see what they're gonna do with it. So they have a player base now. The game is out. They have the feedback. Let's see what is gonna go from there. So let's see what's the master plan they have for this game. What's the will they keep the message keep going, or are they gonna, what they're gonna do, and so on. We'll see. But I kind of now leaning to your idea, Ray, because I never thought about that. Maybe it's just an extension to his YouTube channel. Maybe it is. And that's fine. It's fine.
Just a good excuse for him to make content, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
nothing wrong with that.
I've done it before.
Nothing wrong with that. That's perfect. And people can enjoy a game where they can make their own mods and make their own game. Win-win. Everyone wins. It's fantastic. But yeah, long story short, I really like this idea that this game exists. I really like it. I like the message.
I like the concept behind it. I really do.
I love the concept.
It is just for a way for somebody else in order to generate content. But I mean, again, I'm also of the person who likes open-ended games that like allowing their community in order to come and mod it to hell and back again. That will always get a plus in my book.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic idea, fantastic concept, and I hope it continues to grow and improve and so on. And I hope it's not gonna just rely on mods. I hope. We will see. Anything else you want to mention about?
No,
Because I kind of said my piece about. Yeah. Oh. As we end the podcast.